Well, hello, Facebook and all the social media platforms that this will be aired on shortly. I'm Tia Knapp. I'm thrilled to have you joining us tonight. It's Thursday night, and Michael, my dear friend Dr. Michael Gross, is here to share his words of wisdom with you.
Hello, everyone. Greetings, salutations, and felicitations. How's that one? I'm so glad you can join us. Tonight, we're going to have some fun.
We're thrilled that everybody's popping on. Give them a minute. I'll go ahead and introduce you as they're joining us, okay?
All
And
right.
then feel free to ask your questions, put them in the comments, and we'll make sure that Michael has an opportunity to answer your questions, okay? So here we go. Dr. Michael Gross is a professional keynote speaker, energy transformational coach, and an entrepreneur. He's also the author of The Spiritual Primer, applying God's 12 transformational laws to reawaken your soul by reconnecting to God, the true source, to experience your true source's love, joy, and happiness. He helps you to achieve an unlimited life. For over 30 years, Dr. Michael Gross has been a spiritual teacher, a multidimensional healer, a transformational coach who is exceptionally skilled at all aspects of soul, over soul, vibrations, frequencies, body timings, life force energies, and oh, so much more. Dr. Michael Gross holds many degrees, and some of them are a doctorate of alternative healing, psychology. He's a Reiki master teacher, a thought field therapist, certified professional hypnotherapist, and a non denominational minister, in case you have a need for one.
Huh.
You might, right, Michael?
Right.
I saw his file, man. He has done a whole lot of weddings. File this thick or thicker.
Huh.
So he comes very, very, very well experienced. He also offers workshops, including reconnecting to God, the true source, cellular release, manifestation protocols, and energy multidimensional healing, enlightenment, and many others. He's also an internal, oh my goodness, my mouth. I just tripped over my own tongue. And he's also an international intuitive consultant for corporations and has traveled over half the world. His clients are in the USA, Australia, New Zealand, South America, Asia, and other countries. His messages are heard in the Baltic countries, Sweden, and South Korea as well. Dr. Michael Gross has completed the formation of a 501c3 nonprofit corporation. And hopefully, if we have time after, he'll tell you more about the International Institute of Self Empowerment. So, on that point, I'm thrilled to welcome this incredible soul to all of you tonight. And I look forward to your questions. And I'm going to go ahead and mute out, put his contact information in the comments. So make sure you copy that, okay? Here you go, Michael. Say
All right.
hello.
Well, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining me. I thought today we would talk about life decisions. And it's so important because every thought, that you have, every move, every decision, everywhere you go, wherever you decide to plant your feet, so to speak. Could be your home, travel, be with people, work, whatever affects your life in many different directions. And it's so important for us to understand that because of what's going on right now, the chaos on the planet, and in many, many countries, there's a lot of chaos. Sometimes the news doesn't tell us all the things that are happening. But the most beautiful thing in your life is that your decisions are not only short term but long term. And those short term or long term decisions will make a big, big difference in your life. Now your soul is asking you to be conscious of your decisions. Many times you can do some things that we all did as a teenager. It was fun, it was prankster. We did all these crazy little things, and life would go on, and we'd make amends or not do it again. But now things are becoming much, much, much more serious. This is a time of the energy on the planet and all the vibrations that are going on, that every decision you make is going to affect you. And we can see the short term effect. Short term mean you make a decision, maybe you'll see it in a day, a week, or a couple of months. But also there's long term decisions that'll affect your life over many days, weeks, years, months. And that's something for us to really just Decipher. Decipher in your mind, what is it you truly desire? Number one, I'm going to make some suggestions. At this time, I would suggest, with your choice, you start concentrating on having perfect health. That's the most important thing that you can do in your life. Well, what is, perfect health? Perfect health is just that word. Your health is perfect. You don't have to enumerate my heart, my liver, lungs, spleen, pancreas. Everything is working in order and it's perfect. However, sometimes we've abused our body and we made those decisions which caused abuse. And sometimes drinking too much, you have cirrhosis of the liver. Or perhaps you're not taking care of your body and you have renal failure or sugar diabetes or who knows, all those things. But it's never too late to make those decisions to change and make yourself healthy. Most of us, when we're thinking about our life decisions, we want it yesterday. Me too. I want it yesterday. However, you didn't get in the shape you are. You weren't as successful as you are. You haven't learned as much as you've learned, ups and downs. It took you years. And therefore, in concentrating, I would like you to all concentrate on the decision of a new beginning. And just imagine for a moment that you're an artist and you got this blank canvas, beautiful canvas, and there's a tray. And on the tray, all the beautiful oils and paints you could ever think of. Lots of paintbrushes, different widths. Now you can create that life that brings you joy and happiness. I don't care whether you're watching this and you're 3 or 4 or 5 years old or you're 105 or 10. You can still create the life that you so desire. But here's where I want to draw the line. Well, what do you really so desire? Get out of the ego and listen to the thoughts of the soul. Your soul doesn't want you to suffer, be in pain, angry, upset, homeless, lost, destitute, sick, ill. Doesn't want any of that. It's you who have decided that. It's you who can change that, because what you create, you can change. Remember that. What you think you create, you experience. The other half is when the mind can conceive, the body is believed. So watch your thoughts. I talked to people today and someone said, well, life is so short. I said, let's talk about that. Well, it is. Well, how do you describe short? I don't know. Short. 80, 90 years? Well, it's a long time. Is it forever? No. Your soul's forever. But when you start saying life is short, where's your thoughts? What decision have you made? You made a decision that you're not going to live a long time. The next thing I hear is, well, if I live a long time, am I going to be heart condition, going to sick, bedridden, will I be in pain, so on. And again, what decision did you make on your life? Do you want to be free and happy and healthy? Or do you want to be in bed or sick or ill? Again, it's your decision. Everything is your decision. I want you to think about that for a moment, because I believe Tia would like to say something.
Yes, Michael. Krista has a question here. She asks, when you're at a crossroads, how do you know what the right decision is? How do you ask your soul?
Perfect. Well, there are 3 ways to understand this decision. Number 1, ask yourself, and you have to be honest, this coming from my ego. And how do you know it's coming from your ego? Well, it's something that's grandizing, like on a car, money, travel, boat, all this stuff. Well, there's nothing wrong with that, but that's the ego. The next decision is that how will it affect your life? Think about that when you're at a crossroads. Now, you can't tell everything how it's going to affect your life, because you can't see down the road the many little hills from valleys, little ruts that you may run into. However, if you're looking at the future, how does it feel? Try the future on. See if it feels good. Just try that on for a moment. For example, let's say you desire a new job, and you got a good job now. And then you say, well, I work for this company, they do this and that. How's it feel? What kind of challenges will I have? Just ask them. Ask that, excuse me. And then what you do is just close your eyes and relax. And you'll have feelings in your body because your soul knows exactly what's going to happen. Or the third thing, and that is ask for a sign you can't misunderstand. I've employed all of those, and they all work. You know, when I was coming out here, some of you know the story. I wanted a sign. I'm in Boston. I go up the ramp, and I call it the Southeast Distressway because you really got distressed. A car cuts me off, and all of a sudden, it's a Washington State license plate. How many do you see in the state of Washington or wherever you live a Washington's license plate? Very rarely. Maybe in the summer you might see a couple, but that's it. But I asked for a sign I can't misunderstand. So now we go into the analogical mind, which is the ego, analytical and logical. Well, was that the sign? They cut me off, tell them I wouldn't be there. I shouldn't go there. It would be bad for me to go there. No, I asked for a sign I couldn't misunderstood. That party had to cut me off for me to notice it. Many times when I get cut off in traffic, I don't look at the license plate. I look at the car, the person, and I grumble. And most of the time, I'm not going to say 100% of the time, most of the time I say, well, that poor soul, they're in a hurry. And I just let it go. Once in a while I get annoyed. But I realize that maybe I did that sometime, or I'll do it. So I'll cut them some slack. But getting back to it, ask for a sign you can't misunderstand. And sometimes when you do that, you can go to sleep. Just before you go to sleep, repeat 3 times. Body, mind, and soul represents the sign that I can't misunderstand. Should I do this or that? And that's it. Now, here's what the human person goes. Well, I got a sign, but what does it mean? So they asked 27,000 people, and they get 27,000 opinions. Your soul has already told you what to do. Why do you need somebody else's opinion? Because they don't walk in your shoes. They're not going through what you're going through. And the best advice I would give anybody, ask for a sign. They got a sign, it would say, how do you feel about it? Does it feel right? Then if it feels right, do it. Period. That's it. If it's ego driven, I want a boat, I want a car, I want. Then what happens is it's all ego driven and it'll be short lived. I hope that answers Chris's thoughts.
Yes, it does. She said, thank you, Michael.
Oh, you're welcome. So our decisions in life create what we call an outcome, which you know, but the outcome can be challenging, could be painful, hurtful, or it can be joyous and happy. And you know the old story, if your gas tank is half full, you're an optimist and go, I can get plenty of gas to get home. And the pessimist said it's half full, I better get some gas, I might not make it home. I mean, it's that simple is how we look at things. But if you look at everything in your life and your decisions and say, I'm learning something new, knowledge can never, ever be stopped. It could be learning how to paint a car or mow the lawn or do something else. And for me, I've mown the lawn many, many, many years. But I'm still learning something new, something really exciting, different ways to do things. And it's so beautiful. And then if you will just be open-minded and not be closed-minded, say my way or the highway, then your decision begins to expand like this. So it goes from one thing and then another thing, something else happens, and all of a sudden you start with one idea and you get a plethora of information. It's so beautiful, and then you become more knowledgeable. That's something you need to think about right now, but I know Tiu said that she has another question.
I do have another question. This one's coming from me, Michael. Why is it that when we make a mistake, because we're human, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that we are so beating ourselves up? We beat ourselves up when we make a mistake, when that's how we learn.
Well, that's a very good question. And you're right, that's how we learn. So there are no mistakes, there's only knowledge. However, because we're either embarrassed or we feel we should have listened, or perhaps we should have acknowledged something, then we beat ourselves up. Why didn't I? Should have, would have, could have. But stop that. Say, okay, I messed up. I learned something new, and I'm going to try very hard not to mess up again. It's all you need to say to yourself, and you won't mess up again. But here's the way the soul and the universe works. So let's say you messed up. You got new knowledge. You're going to have a test. You're going to have a test, and same thing will happen. A little different, but the same concept will happen. And if you don't get it, keep going over and over again until you get, yeah, I got it now. I got it. I understand it. Acknowledge it. I've learned something new. So it keeps repeating itself till you get it. It's just like in relationships. If you have a relationship that is not very good, it's disastrous. You will keep having relationship over relationship over the relationship that's similar. And, similar, excuse me. And as it's similar, what happens is you'll hear a voice in your mind. You got it yet? You figured it out yet? Hello? Anybody home? And I know in relationships, friends, family, romantic relationships, even, well, let's say business relationships, I've learned a lot of lessons. And I don't get my ego in the way. And if it's not going to work, eventually you'll know it's not going to work. That's the precious opportunity of learning from mistakes. That's so important. So realize there's no mistakes. You have learned something new. That's so important. There's no such thing as failure because you gain new knowledge. Mistakes is something you created to learn a lesson that you're hit broadside unaware. Failure is something you're indirectly into. You're doing research, whether you're talking to people, looking up on the internet, thinking about it, and then if it doesn't work, it's still a success because you gain new knowledge. One's blindsided, one is right in front of your face to make the right decision. I hope everybody understands that. So here we are, and we're coming up to something that's really important. And that is, we're coming up to the summer and the fall, and some countries are going to have, elections coming up. And I'd like to address that for a moment, but go ahead, Tio. You have a question?
No, it's okay. Now I forgot it. So you go ahead.
Okay. Now, if you remember, let me know.
Okay.
So it's coming up for election time. And this is, I don't care what country you're in, but it's really, whether the election's this year or next year or the year after, there's going to be a lot of pressure put on you, a lot of propaganda. I call the news, which isn't really the news anymore, maybe 20% is the news, the other's people's opinions. They're trying to persuade you. This is where your decision is to use critical thinking and think about so many things that are coming up. And it's so important. Are you going to be swayed by the opinions of others, or are you going to be a solid person who looks for reference and information? Then you need to reflect on your own life. So if some of these politicians have messed up, which I'm sure they have, haven't you messed up? Should you forgive them? Then there are others that are blatant and they never want to change. And you can get angry at them, but it doesn't do any good. But really what it does is grant you new knowledge to determine what you want in the political scene. And I would say this, that you want government people that are in tune with the populace, that want to help the populace, not control and manipulate the populace. You want politicians that will listen to the populace and not special companies or whatever. And one thing we have to be aware of, and that is a term, and it's a term of people knowing better. And everybody thinks they know better than everyone else. Well, the truth is, you only know what's better for you. You know what's better for anyone else. And that's what's important. Do the politicians have your best interest? Now, they may do certain things and say this is great, but every decision they make, affects you physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially, and your life cycle. Now let's turn it around. Every decision you make affects you physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, and your family and your life cycle. Therefore, the only thing you can control in your life is your decisions to vote the right people in, the right souls in, not be persuaded by all this rhetoric. What do you feel in your heart? So what I teach my students is whenever an election comes up, ask for true inner source guidance. Do a meditation. Ask who's the best person. Maybe in a limited field, out of 3, there could be 5 that are better, but one of the 3 are going to get elected. Therefore, ask to find out which is the best of the 3. So there's such a thing called an elitist. An elitist is someone who knows something better than you. We know it's better and we're wiser than you. Well, how can they do that? How can they say that? They haven't walked in your shoes. They haven't lived your life. But a true politician would meditate and say, what's the best thing for my constituents, not my pocketbook. So those are the things we need to really understand. And as we get older, one of the most important jobs we have is to take our children or grandchildren and teach them what I call right action and correct exchange. Everything we do in our decisions is a payoff. Pain, joy, happiness, prosperity, abundance, etc. Whatever. There's always a payoff. And children today, and the younger children, don't have critical thinking. With all the protests that are going on, they really don't understand. They don't understand life. They haven't gone through life. They've led a privileged life. Even if they don't go to a top college, but they're going to get some education. Even if they aren't the smartest in the world, but they've had an experience. And we as mothers, fathers, grandparents, we are the stewards of our children. We are the ones that need to direct them. And I always say, and you laugh, those of us who are older, you're not a successful parent until your child says, I hate you and I wish you were dead. We've all thought that or said it at one time and mumbled it, right? Whacks, we got hit for it. But later on, we began to respect the knowledge of our parents. But it wasn't until our 20s or we got married or whatever would happen that we realized the knowledge they had. Now, as the stewards of your children, or grandchildren, or relatives, or whatever, the last thing I desire to address is that you are now the steward of this planet. And your decisions on this planet and how is it affecting you is far reaching because it's going to reach future generations. And that's what's so important. I'm not sure it was the Serengeti, but they talked about cutting down the forest because it was creating all kinds of problems, cutting down certain trees, and it would help a little better with climate change and became a desert. Boy, that's a real great decision. Lack of food for the animals, lack of food for the birds, came a desert. And they kind of ignored it, and the birds would fly over and they would poop, but they ate seeds. So when they pooped, the seed came down into the desert. The poop was moist, okay? The seed began to nurture and create roots and began to grow. Little by little, the desert turned into a forest. Just remember, for those who are worried about, climate control and all those things, plants take in CO2 and give it out oxygen. Your grass takes in CO2 and gives out oxygen. Just remember that. And if we will actually think about our actions and what we do, you see, your thoughts are creating your life, but you're creating the life for everyone around you. You have an effect on everyone. I have an effect on you. You have an effect on me. We'll affect each other. But we don't think that way. We're too busy listening to experts in every field who just kind of come up with a new notion, something sounds great and wonderful. As a is a hypnotherapist and also doing psychology and other types of things. There's nothing new under the world. They're just given a new label. How do I know? I'm to get continuing education units. They rename everything. They rename this, they rename that, rename this. It's the same thing. And the basic thing is this, and that's what I want to share with you. The basic is become unconditionally loving and allowing, non-judgmental. Love is the greatest power in the world because without love, your body cannot exist. Your organs live on that energy of love. And when you stop that and you become angry and sick, that's what happens. You deny yourself that love energy, which comes from the true source 24/7. And without that energy, you begin to deplete your body and it begins to wither and fail. Think of it this way. You're driving a car. Without gasoline or diesel, you can't drive the car. I know, battery cars. But without that, something that produces energy, battery, diesel, gas, whatever it is, it can't run. That's your body. It can't run on the most beautiful, powerful, unlimited gift we have in this world. And that's love. Wake up, everybody. You were created out of love, by love, from love, and with love. Love is the glue that holds your body together. Love is the glue that makes this planet work. And you are the instrument to create it. I'll get off my soapbox. Go ahead to you.
Don't get off your soapbox, Michael. That's absolutely perfect because that's exactly what I was going to say. Love is the glue that holds us together. It holds not only us together as individuals, but when we love others, we're radiating out a positive energy that's going to keep growing and moving either back to us or somewhere. You know, when we're respectful and loving, that is the most incredible power that there is. And I'm so glad that you brought that up because, you know, life is full of, you know, we make mistakes. We're human. And stuff happens and things change. You know, there's always going to be, nothing stays the same forever except for love when we become one with love. So thank you so much, Michael.
Welcome.
I see that we're wrapping up. So would you like to go ahead and share with everybody what you do throughout the week?
Yeah,
And
I just want to
before I
share.
forget, hang on, before I forget, Michael, for those of you, I want everyone to know that Michael offers a complimentary consultation. Please, please, please take down his contact information. It's over in the comments. And make sure that you call him, set up a time because he is a valuable, valuable resource for all of us. Thank you, Michael. Now I'll let it go to
Okay,
you.
well, thank you for reminding everyone. I wrote a little essay, and maybe the next time I'm on, I'll share it with you. The essence is, without love, there is no life. And without life, there is no love. I'd like to leave you to those thoughts. Every Tuesday evening, 6:30 p.m. Pacific time to 7:30 p.m. Pacific time, I have what I call Soul Awakening. And it's an opportunity for you to join us. The information that Tia has put in, and she'll also repeat it in a moment, and ask any questions about the universe or spirituality, and hopefully I can answer them. And then I deliver a 10-minute message, and there are over 400. But for you, which I encourage all of you to join, the cost is zero, and the outcome is tremendous knowledge, is to call in. It's on freeconferencecall.com. And all you need to do is do this.
Dial this number. It's 202-926-1059. And the access code, Michael?
125-446-pound.
One more time. That's 202-926-1059. And the code, Michael?
125-446-pound. I love doing that. Join us using the same telephone numbers, the same code, the second Saturday of every month from 9:55 a.m. Pacific time to 11:01 Pacific time, I have what I call a mass consciousness healing. So I'm encouraging you all to join us. Come on 9:55, 9:56, then around 10:01, 10:02, somewhere around there, I start. We chat for a few moments. I learn where you are, and then we go into a meditation of silence. And sometime around 10:57, 58, we come out of it. I talk for maybe 30 seconds, play a little music, make sure you're grounded. And here's what happens. There's a unique way in which we bring through the true source of unconditional love into your body. Now, goes through your body and out through your heart and encompasses this whole planet. Touches everything, the animal, mineral, vegetable kingdom, everything and everything. And you, after you've been doing it for a while, you'll be so joyous and happy because as you're filling your body up with that extra energy of love, it creates joy and happiness and healing. Therefore, I ask all of you, think about joining us and give up an hour of your time, please, because you can make a difference. Because I'm going to tell you, on this planet, I was told we are the solution and we can make a difference to make this planet one of joy and happiness or one of chaos. It's your choice. To access that, why don't you give the same number again?
Absolutely. It's 202-926-1059. And the code, Michael?
125446 pound, same as before. Then you might be wondering, all these messages I said, I call the replays. And you have the opportunity to listen to them on your phone. Maybe you're stuck in traffic, or you're on lunch, or you're feeling depressed or angry. And it starts at number 3 and it goes up to approximately 401, 402. And they're not labeled. And in the beginning, I forgot to label them. True Source said, nope, you're not supposed to label them. Do you want to read through 400 different labels? I don't have time. I really don't. Let your higher self, your soul. I don't know. Michael says do this. I think I'll listen to 247. And you go, wow, that's just what I needed to hear. Because your soul has selected that. Therefore, to access that on freeconferencecall.com, all you need to do is call
434-300-4170 and the access code, Michael?
125446 pound. One more time, please.
434-300-4170 and the code, Michael?
125446 pound. That's 125446 pound.
Perfect.
Also, I want to encourage all of you to go to YouTube, Dr. Michael B. Gross. And if you will go there, there's all the podcasts that TU and I do. Also, there are verbal messages with a beautiful picture taken by award-winning photographer TU Knapp with a little motto on it. And it's about 8 to 10 minutes long, so it won't bore you. Or if you want to review these podcasts, whichever you so desire. But don't forget to push the subscribe button and to tell others. Because you see, as I get more subscribers, more people are going to listen to the message. And the message is that we are the sole creator on this universe who can make a difference and change this into one of the Garden of Eden of love. I want to thank all of you. One more thought quickly, and that is that I started a 501c3, the International Institute of Self-Empowerment, and in doing so, I didn't know what I was going to do with it, and then I met TU, and you're going to hear about her book in a moment, who's gone through a lot of trauma, and like the proverbial phoenix rose from the ashes. And I asked her to be director of that one arm, which is handling and assisting abused women, children, and men. We'll talk more about that later. The last thing is we talk about the book. Here's the book that TU wrote, and it's called Healing the Holes in Your Soul by TU Knapp. It's all about her story of climbing out of the gutter into the light to bring joy and happiness that not only she shares in this book, but helps others heal and empower them to get out of failure, anger, frustration, and emotional, physical, mental pain into becoming whole, into becoming a beautiful, loving soul and changing their lives. It's a must read.
Thank you, Michael. But please start here. This is a spiritual primer written by the amazing Dr. Michael Gross. And if it wasn't for this beautiful book and this incredible man sitting virtually next to me, the book he's holding would not even be in existence. He truly has the gift of helping us heal from whatever is going on in our past so that we can grow stronger and become more unconditionally loving for not only ourselves, but for everybody else in the world. So start here. I highly encourage it. And Michael, right now, this is the second edition. And the only way to get it right now, because it's not on Amazon yet, is send him an email and get this. You'll not only get this book, but you'll also get a signed copy of it. You'll get a signed copy of his book that you can get on Amazon anyway. So definitely, it's Dr. Michael Gross 1 at gmail.com, right, Michael? Whoops. Okay, Michael.
Michael Gross 7. Dr. Michael Gross 7 at gmail.com.
Okay, my bad. Okay,
Well,
definitely start with this book.
I probably forgot to notify you, but I added that new email, Dr. Michael Gross 7 at gmail.com.
Perfect. Anyway, thank you so much for sticking around with us. It's been a little bit longer than 30 minutes, but we appreciate everything that you guys do to be here with us on Thursday nights. So please invite your friends, and we'll be back next Thursday. Anything else, Michael?
I want to thank all of you, and just remember, we appreciate you. And remember, you are the solution. You can make a difference, and you are. And you are unlimited. Thank you, everyone. We love you. Namaste. Have a great
Namaste.
week.
Thank you.